back to them, or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Fuck Joe Biden.
To go along with this, and I'm seeing through all of your lies, Barack Obama, you wicked, wicked devil!
Welcome back to another night of Shtick with Koolfrogg. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I really didn't have a lot of time to do a lot of research today. I was kind of digging around, and I'm like, oh, I missed a speech by the president. I must have to watch this. As I'm like trying to glance at it, watch it, I realized that, you know, the expert's live, and I'm like, oh, he watched it. And then I go and I listen, and he says he didn't watch it. Being that he didn't watch it, we're going to watch it right here. So, that being said, let's do that first, because then that will lead into a couple other stories that I have pulled up here to go along with it. And let's go like that. This guy, the most legitimate potato on the face of the planet. Yes, he is your president. Yes, he's my president. Nothing we can do about that. Sadly as that is, there's not a damn thing we can do. So there's like a 17 minutes of him talking about recent mass shootings and what he wants to do with gun control.
Jill and I visited Arlington National Cemetery. As we entered those hallowed grounds, we saw rows and rows of crosses among the rows of headstones with other emblems of belief, honoring those who paid the ultimate price on battlefields around the world. The day before, we visited Uvalde, Texas. In front of Robb Elementary School, we stood before 21 crosses for 19 third and fourth graders and 2 teachers. On each cross, a name, and nearby, a photo of each victim that Jill and I reached out to touch. Innocent victims.
Joe Biden, you know better. Stop reaching out and touching little kids.
Murdered in a classroom that had been turned into a killing field. Standing there in that small town, like so many communities across America, I couldn't help but think there are too many other schools, too many other everyday places that have become killing fields, battlefields here in America. We stood at such a place just 12 days before, across from a grocery store in Buffalo, New York, memorializing 10 fellow Americans, a spouse, a parent, a grandparent, a sibling, gone forever. At both places, we spent hours with hundreds of family members who were broken, whose lives will never be the same. They had one message for all of us: do something. Just do something. For God's sake, do something. After Columbine, after Sandy Hook, after Charleston, after Orlando, after Las Vegas, after Parkland, nothing has been done.
All talking
this time,
points.
that can't be true.
Every single one of those.
This time, we must actually do something.
Just another talking point for them. They
The issue we face is one of conscience
ones. Do they
and
bring
common
up all
sense.
Of them? No, they just bring up the ones that
For
they
so many
feel.
of you at home, I want to be very clear. This is not about taking away anyone's guns. It's not about vilifying gun owners.
Gum or gun? You know, or are you taking away my chewing gum? Like you just, I mean, what did you just tell me?
Taking away anyone's guns. It's not about vilifying gun owners. In fact, we believe we should be treating responsible gun owners as an example of how every gun owner should behave.
Exactly. Taking away people's guns isn't going to help anything. You have to teach them how to use such a weapon or tool correctly. Otherwise, you're just not doing the job right. Like this guy has done the whole time he's been in office. Has not done the job right. But,
I respect the culture and the tradition,
you respect
the concerns
yourself.
of lawful gun owners. At the same time, the Second Amendment, like all other rights, is not absolute.
Yes, it is.
It
is absolutely absolute. Stop it. You don't get to sit there and dictate how you think things are supposed to be read. Read the Second Amendment again. Maybe a third time. Fourth time. How many times it's going to take you to actually get it through your thick skull? It's absolute.
It was Justice Scalia who wrote, and I quote, like most rights, the Second Amendment, the rights granted by the Second Amendment are not unlimited. Not unlimited. It never has been. There have always been limitations on what weapons you can own in America.
No, there's not. There's no limitation on weapons that you can own in America. If you wanted to own an F-15, you could. If you wanted to own a cannon, you can. Anything that you want to own, you can own it. You just have to have enough money to do so. There's no law that says I can't have an F-15 fighter jet. There's no law that says I can't have a cannon. There's no law that says you get to dictate which weapon I get to use against the tyranny of this government.
America. For example, machine guns have been federally regulated and this is still a free country. This isn't about taking away anyone's rights. It's about protecting children. It's about protecting families.
But you're not doing that. You're not trying to protect the children or the families. If you were trying to protect children or families, a couple of these most recent incidences that you like to list off because it just sounds good to you coming up into this midterm that we're coming up into, and you're going to sit there and you're going to make it sound like, oh, they were going against these kids and we need to protect the children. Well, if you want to protect the children, put an armed guard at the door. Teach every single teacher how to properly use a handgun to stop people from entering their classroom and doing what they've been doing. Period.
It's about protecting whole communities. It's about protecting our freedom to go to school, to a grocery store, to a church, without being shot and killed. According to new data just released by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, guns are the #1 killer of children in the United States of America. The number one.
The number one? Is it the #1 killer of children in America? I mean, I have the internet right here. Let's ask Google. Because, Google's your friend. What is the... I'm sorry, I have to listen to what he said again to get the question correct.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Guns are the #1 killer of children in the United States of America. The #1 killer. More than car accidents, more than cancer.
Killer.
Over the last 2 decades, more school-age children have died from guns than on-duty police officers and active-duty military combined. Think about that. More kids than on-duty cops killed by guns. More kids than soldiers killed by guns.
While there's been a consistent decline in mortality rates among children, this remains a major issue. In 2018, there were 19,660 deaths among people ages 1 to 19. As the leading cause of death among children and adolescents, motor vehicle accidents account for 20% of the deaths in the age group. Gotta make sure that my... Nice. Hi, Divinity. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention. I'm actually in South Dakota. I'm not from here, though.
For God's sake, how much more carnage are we willing to accept? How many more innocent American lives must be taken before we say enough, enough? I know that we can't prevent every tragedy, but here's what I believe we have to do. Here's what the overwhelming majority of American people believe we must do. Here's what the families in Buffalo and Uvalde in Texas told us we must do. We need to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. And if we can't ban assault weapons, then we should raise the age to purchase them from 18.
What's an assault weapon? A weapon that's used to assault somebody? Or just the big, long, scary rifles that look like they're military, but they're actually civilian rifles? Which ones? Which ones are you talking about? Right, exactly. What is an assault weapon? Anything can be considered an assault weapon. If I go and assault somebody with my water bottle, it's considered an assault weapon. I'm with you, Divinity. I despise this man. I've hated this man for the longest time. Everything that he had done to underpowered people in the 80s and 90s, he does not deserve to actually be president of anything. Oh, I got a little visitor here. Nice. Welcome, Jimmy.
A real American. Fight for the rights of every man.
What's up, buddy?
I saw, dude.
Oh, listen to this fool.
What's this fool doing, huh?
He's talking snap, and he doesn't even know what the hell he's even saying.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Look at this fool.
This was a special statement that he had made tonight, and I'm just like, oh, I gotta watch that. I really do. And then I'm like, well, you know what? I might as well just make it part of the show. I'll do this first.
Divinity. I know. I gotta get it. I gotta get my intro.
I gotta get intro music for everybody. I don't have intro music for anybody because it takes time. Just don't have the time. Okay, let's.
18 to 21. Strengthen background checks. Enact safe storage law and red flag laws. Repeal the immunity that protects gun manufacturers from liability.
Because it's not up to the gun manufacturer. You're making the gun manufacturer liable for anything that happens with their guns when somebody, goes and uses it improperly. Train everybody properly on how to use them, and we won't have these issues. When I was in high school, what's that?
Can I say my big thing on this?
Yes, absolutely. Go for it.
Okay, so it's like they want to restrict guns and take them away is the whole idea, right? Or
right.
The general consensus. So, what about the people that are just gonna already use them illegally? Aren't they still gonna have them, illegally anyway?
Yeah, they're still gonna have access to those.
So, like, look at Chirac. It's kind of the perfect example. It's like, these guys have the strictest gun laws.
Yeah, one of the most strict in the nation. Right, exactly. And you're like, what?
But yeah, okay. Or look at Britain for another example. Great Britain, the UK. It's like, hey, let's take away all the guns. Okay, fine, we'll just stab each other with machetes. It's like, that's not what we wanted either, but, we'll take it, I guess, if it pleases our overlords.
Yeah, if it so pleases them. Yeah, exactly.
If this guy wants bloodshed to stop, then he needs to get a rein on his former FBI agents and these other people that seem to be on his same side.
Yeah, right? The guntards. Div Inity says the guntards say that they have so much gun crime because states near them still have guns. It's like, well, do you wonder why the states that are near them actually don't have the gun crime? Because they still have guns to protect themselves from situations like this happening. Freaking stupid.
Address the mental health crisis.
You want to address the mental health crisis. If you want to address any mental health crisis, you address all of it. And when I say all of it, I mean all of this. Identifying as something is a mental health issue.
You notice that a lot of the prison population, like a lot of it, has ADHD.
There's so many that actually have such an issue that they call ADHD or whatever, because it's a term that they came up with to put people in a category. I know I have some form of ADHD because I was diagnosed as a young man as having such a thing, and I recognize it, and I can actually see the certain things that squirrel, certain things like that just totally distract me and stop me from my thoughts.
Yeah, it's a chemical deficiency in the brain.
Right.
You gotta do different things to help yourself build it up because you don't do it naturally.
Right. And using certain particulars, substances or whatever, it kind of sometimes helps. And it's amazing what certain substances can do, but as opposed to
now
just
it helps to build it. Actually, is a good one.
Right. But people don't always have time to even just do the sit-ups or the push-ups that they should be doing in a day.
Or even making your bed is another one that gets it, or like brushing your teeth, taking care of yourself, stuff like that. Like just those little things.
Just finishing little projects or whatever actually help you go through to the next larger.
That are good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Those things build that chemical up. I don't remember if it's serotonin or dopamine. I think it's dopamine. It's a dopamine deficiency, I believe. I'm not an expert on ADHD, but I mean, I've watched some videos on TikTok. So I don't know. And I mean, I heard about it when I was a kid, and I was diagnosed with it, and I had the whatever pills that were supposed to make me more, less deficient with the chemical. And I went off of it years ago, and I just kind of help myself get it however I can by I draw and I do different things that are satisfying to me and build it myself.
And I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to, is you need to do something that's going to actually satisfy you, period. If you're not satisfied with almost anything, that's where you run into the issues. It takes a lot for me to actually be satisfied. I mean, when I say it takes a lot, I remember trying to produce videos before I met you guys and met AmericaShirts even, and every single one of them, I delete them. Just delete them. Nope, that's trash. Just not excited with any of it. It took me actually having to have somebody like AmericaShirts or yourself or anybody else in the room, because the second somebody else is in here, now it's like, oh, I can't delete this. This conversation cannot be deleted. Why? Because it's now a disservice to you or anybody else that's in this room when they want to actually go back and see what they actually had to say.
Yeah, because it's like a historical document with other people now. You can't. Yeah, I got you.
Exactly. So I'm not an expert. I've seen some videos on TikTok. I'm dying laughing. Divinity's laughing at you.
Hey, you know what? If anything, I keep it real, all right? At least I'll damn well try.
This fool still has another 10, 11 minutes, 12 minutes left to actually... This guy.
Feeling the trauma of gun violence and as a consequence of that violence. These are rational, common sense measures Here's what it all means. It all means this.
Democrats have common
We
sense
should
now?
reinstate the assault weapons ban on high-capacity magazines that we passed in 1994 with bipartisan support in Congress and the support of law.
The sad thing is they call it bipartisan support when they even get like one or two from the other side just to sign something. You know, those rhinos.
But the Republicans do the same thing.
No, right, exactly. They call it bipartisan support when they get, and that's why I said from the other side. It doesn't matter what side, dinos, rhinos, whatever. However, you know, they all do the same thing, and think because they're the government, they're the final word. Sorry, that's not the way it is. The government is run by the people. We have final say, not you. F off, Joe Biden.
Law enforcement. 9 categories of semi-automatic weapons were included in that ban, like AK-47s and AR-15s. And in the 10 years it was law, mass shootings went down.
Can you go back a little?
But after Republicans let the law expire in 2004,
Just like 15 seconds.
Man, there he goes.
Maybe
Court
it's
of Law
off 30.
Enforcement. 9 categories of semi-automatic weapons were included in that ban, like AK-47s and AR-15s.
What were the
And
categories,
in the 10
Joe?
years it was law.
Right, 9 categories. We went through this at the beginning because he says the Second Amendment is not absolute. There's nothing that says that you can own whatever you want to own, and there's nothing that says I can't own things like F-15s or cannons.
Man,
So no,
I would love to have a cannon and just like when shit goes down, people
randomly light that some bitch
people
off.
come rocking up to my house, you know, and all of a sudden I just push that bitch out a window. You want some? Nah, no, hell no. Dude, nobody wants to get hit by a cannon. Nobody.
That'd be funny. Prop that shit and get like 3 or 4 of them, and you just like out the 4 front windows.
Load them up with like forks and knives and dinner plates like in Pirates of the Caribbean.
That'd be funny as hell.
Oh, man.
Law, mass shootings went down. But after Republicans let the law expire in 2004, and those weapons were allowed to be sold again, mass shootings tripled. Those are the facts.
Ghost guns are going to get super popular. I got ammo right before Cali required us to register our ammo.
Ooh.
That's freaking ridiculous. Registering ammo? I mean, I guess I would figure out how to actually load my own ammo and say F off, but...
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be ghost ammo?
Maybe.
A few years ago, the family of the inventor of the AR-15 said he would have been horrified to know that its design was being used to slaughter children and other innocent lives instead of being used as a military weapon on the battlefield.
It's because an AR-15 is not a military weapon. It's a civilian freaking shotgun. Stop it. Learn what the frick you're talking about, and then maybe you can actually try again.
I don't know if they've ever used it for military use. Like,
No,
maybe they have.
it's a civilian rifle.
Yeah, isn't it like a hunting rifle?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not. It has nothing to do with military whatsoever. Just because it's black and it's got some, it looks scary. Oh, it must be military. No, it has nothing to do with military. It's a civilian gun. No military guy is gonna run around with an AR-15. He's gonna be like, I don't want that pile of crap.
Why don't we look at the society that made these shooters? I say.
Well, because if we did that, then we would start uncovering people like Joe Biden. And they don't want us to find that.
Well, I mean, it can't be so bad because otherwise we wouldn't be able to talk about it, right? Or maybe they just haven't found us yet is the more likely thing because we're so small. But I mean...
It could be this...
I don't know.
Yeah. It could be that we're just not large enough to actually
make any big impact yet.
Right, to actually catch that kind of an algorithm where they're like, oh, look what they're talking about.
It's you, bitch.
Who wrote the
Don't you
speech?
worry.
My guess is Barack Obama, the actual person that's pulling strings. You know, because if I could sit down in the basement in my sweatpants and I could just, you know, make it easier for myself to run a third term, I'd do that.
As it was designed. That's what it was designed for. Enough.
That's what it was done.
Enough.
Oh, stop whispering, please.
We should limit how many rounds a weapon can hold. Why in God's
Whoever
name
tells him to whisper
should
is
an
freaking
ordinary
moron.
citizen be able
Oh
to
my
purchase an assault weapon
gosh.
that holds 30-round magazines that let mass shooters fire hundreds of bullets in a matter of minutes? The damage was so devastating in Uvalde, parents had to do DNA swabs to identify the remains of their children. 9 and 10-year-old children. Enough. We should expand background checks to keep guns out of the hands of felons, fugitives, and those under restraining orders. Stronger background checks are something that the vast...
But what you're trying to do is you're trying to ban stuff. So you're not looking at just those couple people that are felons and whatever that you're trying to stop from using. You're trying to stop everyone. That's the issue, is you're trying to ban them from everyone, even the people that have been properly trained and would use them properly for like hunting or whatever else, protection. They're not going out there and destroying this world. It's these ridiculous, and I seriously, without, you know, getting myself struck on it or whatever, I think a lot of this stuff is actually set up. But I have no clue. It's just my opinion.
The majority of Americans, including the majority of gun owners, agree on. I also
Not
believe
allowed to have a clue.
we should have safe storage laws and personal liability for not locking up your gun. The shooter in Sandy Hook came from a home full of guns. They were too easy to access. That's how he got the weapons. The weapon he used to kill his mother and then murdered 26 people, including 20 first graders. If you own a weapon...
So if that's the case, then why is the conspiracy being pushed that Alex Jones is paying for stuff for the Sandy Hook program? Oops, I said a name.
Oh, Alex Emmerichs.
You have a responsibility.
I mean, you know, it is what it is. You know, that's pretty much what it comes down to, though. Is, I mean, anybody that doesn't know who's actually paying the people that lost their whatever, their family members during Sandy Hook, is him, Eric.
To secure it. Every responsible gun owner agrees to make sure no one else can have access to it, to lock it up, to have trigger locks.
That's already
And
a
if you
law,
don't,
Joe.
and something bad happens, you should be held responsible. We should also have national red flag laws so that a parent, a teacher, a counselor can flag for a court that a child, a student, a patient is exhibiting violent tendencies, threatening classmates.
So then, you know, which could be okay to actually do something like that, but then at the same time, when you're actually going to go create something that, you know, allows somebody else to, you know, just randomly say, oh, I think they got a mental condition and we should flag them. I mean, it's as simple as me saying, well, you know, I think Jimmy YouTube has a mental condition. He should be flagged.
Oh, shit,
Though
Joe.
he doesn't.
Shit,
So,
I don't know.
you know, red flagging because you want to do something would be really kind of ridiculous. I really don't like the thought that where he's trying to go with this.
No, I don't like that we can just randomly flag people. Like the red flag list or the no fly list or whatever is already weird enough.
It's like having a YouTube channel,
or whatever, but
and some random asshole thinks that he doesn't like Donald Trump, so he goes and flags somebody's content over and over and over again because he's just like, oh, he said something about Trump. It's like, well, listen to what's actually happening. And I mean, if I hadn't been flagged so many times for doing Trump speeches or whatever, I might actually do more because I get a lot of views on them.
Or experiencing suicidal thoughts, it makes them a danger to themselves or to others. 19 states in the District of Columbia have red flag laws. The Delaware law is named after my son, Attorney General Beau Biden. Fort Hood, Texas, 2009.
That's not
13 dead and more than 30 injured.
No, not at all. There's nothing to see here.
Attorney General.
Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, 2018. 17 dead, 17 injured. In both places, countless others suffering with invisible wounds. Red flag laws could have stopped both these shooters. In Uvalde, the shooter was 17 when he asked his sister to buy him an assault weapon. Knowing he'd be denied because he was too young to purchase one himself, she refused. But as soon as he turned 18, he purchased 2 assault weapons for him.
Say what?
I said, say something about Kyle, I dare you.
Yeah, right. So the interesting one is, we're going to go back to type bit here or whatever, because he says something about the 18-year-old that just so happens to work at like an Arby's or something, and he turns 18 and us, and just so happens to have thousands and thousands of dollars worth of weaponry and ammunition. I had watched something where they actually go through what he actually carried into that school to do the shooting or whatever, and it was just amazing. You're like, where did this kid get this money from? There's no way working at Arby's he was able to save up the money that to buy what he needed.
I had heard he was unemployed.
There was a lot of stuff that was actually kind of false on that. I went through something last night on show or whatever where he actually went through like 6 or 7 different fallacies that were actually brought up and the narrative that was changed. Delaware
What about crackheads?
Be denied because he was too young to purchase one himself. She refused. But as soon as he turned 18, he purchased 2 assault weapons for himself. Because in Texas,
assault weapons, again, don't exist. Make anything an assault weapon if you actually get so inclined. Like I said, I can go grab my water bottle and I can beat you with my water bottle. It is now considered, in somebody's book, an assault weapon.
They like to say assault style weapon as well.
Right, because they don't understand what AR actually stands for. Armor light.
Oh yeah, assault rifle thing.
You can be 18 years old and buy an assault weapon, even though you can't buy a pistol. Texas until you're 21. We can't ban assault weapons.
It's not an assault weapon. It's a rifle. It's a hunting rifle. That's what an AR is. It's a hunting rifle. Stop it. Learn what the fuck you're talking about, you old fuck.
Well, this is for the people that
as we
don't
should.
know what it is.
We must at least raise the age to be able to purchase one to 21. Look, I know some folks will say 18-year-olds can serve in the military and fire those weapons. But that's with training and supervision by the best trained experts in the world.
That's what a gun safety
Don't
course
tell
is
me
for,
raising
give
the
ass.
age won't make a difference. Enough.
Speaking of gun safety courses, back in my day, back in the 90s, when we were in high school, when we had, shotguns in our windows still, we had gun safety training courses at the high school. It was a required class. Everybody
sick.
must take. And that's what I'm saying. Is like idiot. They took that stuff away because they're like, oh no, they're bringing guns to school. It's like, well, because we're learning how to use them properly. And
They
there
played
was
on
not a
people's
single
fears.
shoot. Right. So right, exactly. They're playing off of their fears. Fucking old.
We should repeal the liability shield that often protects gun manufacturers from being sued for the death and destruction caused by their weapon. They're the
It's not
only
their
industry
weapon.
in this country that
They're
has
so-
that kind of immunity. Imagine if the tobacco industry had been immune from being sued, where we'd be today. The gun industry special protection.
When was the tobacco in?
Fucking never. Well, I mean, probably a lot, but I don't think any of them ever went through because of the warnings that they have on them now. Or maybe they went through to have the warnings on them now. I don't know.
Oh, so right, to prevent them from having to pay for further, whatever, they put warnings from the Surgeon General. Oh. Yeah, imagine if vaccine manufacturers weren't liable. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Imagine.
Protections are outrageous. It must end. And let there be no mistake about the psychological trauma that gun violence leaves behind. Imagine being that little girl, that brave little girl in Uvalde, who smeared blood off her murdered friend's body onto her own face to lie still among the corpses in her classroom and pretend she was dead in order to stay alive.
Yeah.
Smart little girl.
Imagine what it'd be like for her to walk down the hallway of any school again. Imagine what it's like for children who experience this kind of trauma
We're gonna break
every
off
day
into
in
song
school,
now?
in the streets, in
Imagine.
communities, all across.
Just imagine.
Imagine what it's like for so many parents to hug their children goodbye in the morning, not sure whether they'll come back home. Unfortunately, too many people don't have to imagine that at all. Even before the pandemic, young people were already
Plandemic.
hurting. There's a serious youth mental health crisis in this country. We have to do something about it. That's
Yeah,
why
it's 'cause
mental
you
health is the
fucking
heart of
putting
my
crazy
unity
heavy
agenda
metals in
that I laid
kids'
out in the
fucking
State of the
food.
Union address this year. We must provide more school counselors, more school nurses, more mental health services for students and for teachers, more people volunteering as mentors to help young people succeed, more privacy protection and resources to keep kids safe from the harms of social media. This unity agenda won't fully heal the wounded souls, but it will help. It matters. I just told you what I'd do. The question now is, what will the Congress do? The House of Representatives already passed key measures we need. Expanding background checks to cover nearly all gun sales, including at gun shows and online sales. Getting rid of the loophole that allows a gun sale to go through after 3 business days, even if the background check has not been completed. And the House is planning even more action next week. Safe
Something is
storage
happening.
requirements.
The House?
Show me this loophole even happening once, like on camera. Let me see it. Let me see this documented.
They can't, because if they did, they might actually kind of find out that everything that they say is slightly wrong.
Well, there was that chick that tried to go and get it that one time, and she's all like, actually, she didn't find anything, or she found it really hard to get the rifle that she was trying to get from the particular. I think she was trying to get from Walmart or something like this.
I guess I'd have to look into that a little further to actually, tell the truth, as opposed to just assuming that whatever I'm saying is right. Like this guy. I don't have somebody writing my speeches for me, though, so everything that I say is actually just coming out of my own head.
Off the cuff.
The banning.
What is it? Back a few seconds here.
Check has not been completed. And the House is planning even more action next week. Safe storage requirements, the banning of high capacity magazines, raising the age of an assault weapon to 21, federal red flag law, codifying my ban on ghost guns that don't have serial numbers and can't be traced, and tougher laws to prevent gun trafficking and straw purchases. This time, we have to take the time to do something. And this time, it's time for the Senate to do something. But as we know, in order to get anything done in the Senate, we need a minimum of 10 Republican senators. I support the bipartisan efforts that include a small group of Democrats and Republican senators trying to find a way. But my God, the fact that the majority of the Senate Republicans don't want any of these proposals even to be debated or come up for a vote, I find unconscionable. We can't fail the American people again. Since you
Okay, hold on a second here. There were like 3 or 4 comments because I wasn't paying attention to my studio that Divinity had put in here that we didn't catch. One of them, Ro was horrified. Her name is used to slaughter babies. Hypocrite. that one wasn't there. And that exactly.
What?
She's like.
Hold up, look at this. These aren't on my screen.
I know they're not. Because I just went and I clicked on them and to allow them to actually be. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, wow. Fucking YouTube.
Right. YouTube's
Pussy.
sitting there taking stuff down or whatever.
Pussy.
There was like 3 or 4 of them. And that's when I'm like, oh, wait a minute here. So then some bitch, Amber, will ruin her boyfriend because she's a spiteful bitch.
Bish. What a bish.
There was another one I thought she... Oh, use my kid for your bullshit and you don't give another speech. Old fuck. You're damn right. You try using my children for your bullshit. Huh. You find out real goddamn fast. I ain't gonna fuck around. I'll go jump in the fucking van and I'll drive all the way to you. Just to get up in your face and watch you freaking stumble and stutter in front of me. Oh, with the red flag laws? Yeah, either way, however you want to. I'd love to get up in this asshole's face and watch him just stumble and stutter while I'm standing there and telling him that he's a worthless piece of crap.
Reason.
Uvalde, just over a week ago, there have been
son.
20 other mass shootings in America, each with 4 or more people killed or injured, including yesterday at a hospital in Tulsa, Oklahoma. A shooter deliberately targeted a surgeon using an assault weapon he bought.
I was going to make it easier so that her comments would never be removed again.
Oh, you're just letting them all come through?
Nope, there you go, Divinity. You're a moderator.
Divinity's a mod. Let's go. It should have
Just a
happened
few hours
long
before
time
his
ago.
rampage, they left a surgeon, a doctor, a receptionist, and a patient dead and many more injured. That doesn't count the carnage we see every single day. It doesn't make the headlines. I've been in this fight for a long time. I know how hard
like
it is,
that.
but I'll never give up. And if Congress fails, I believe this time a majority of the American people won't give up either. I believe the majority of you will act to turn your outrage into making this issue central to your vote. Enough, enough, enough.
What kind of drugs is this guy on? Because I want some.
Oh,
he
geez,
goes
he's
from
on, like,
he
Addy.
goes from a whisper to a freaking normal talk to a stutter to a yell and stern, and it's like, well, what?
To be fair, I bet the Trumpster also kind of, took some pills there. Uppers,
Right.
before a rally. I bet.
And I mean, this guy takes some stool hardeners so he doesn't shit his pants while he's taking a 15-minute conversation.
Over the next 17 days, the families in Uvalde will continue burying their dead. It will take
Adderall
that
for
long
Trump.
in part because it's a town where everyone knows everyone.
I mean, come on.
Day
tell
by
me.
day, they
Tell
will
me he's
honor
not.
each one they lost. Jill and I met with the owner and staff of the funeral home as being strong to take care of their own. And the people of Uvalde mourn as they do over the next 17 days. What will we be doing as a nation?
Adderall for Trump.
Jill and I met with the sister of the teacher who was murdered and whose husband died of a heart attack 2 days later, leaving behind 4 beautiful orphan children, all now orphaned.
DUI guy face.
Sister asked
Thanks.
us, what can she say? What can she tell her nieces and nephews?
That's a thing now.
Wait, stool hardness or a thing? I don't know. It's just
Stool
he
hardener?
wouldn't be taking a softener because obviously
Haven't you had bread and or what's the frickin' with the wheat? Cream of wheat. Cream of wheat.
The most heartbreaking moments that I can remember. I told her to hold them tight. Hold them tight. After visiting the school,
hold them tight because if you make it look like you're holding them super tight, it's going to look really good for the camera.
we attended Mass at Sacred Heart Catholic Church with Father Eddie. In the pews, families and friends held each other tightly. As Archbishop Gustavo spoke, he asked the children in attendance to come up on the altar and sit.
He tries, but he's so horrible at it. Because in this next sentence, he changes his attitude and how he's talking or whatever. And it's just like, wait a minute here. You were just trying to show compassion like you're going to cry or something. Now us and you're angry. What?
Oh, the president should never cry. No,
tightly.
No.
Tight.
As Archbishop Gustavo spoke, he asked the children in attendance to come up on the altar and sit in the altar with him as he spoke. There wasn't enough room, so Mom and her young son sat next to Jill and me in the first pew. And as we left the church, a grandmother who had just lost her granddaughter passed me a handwritten letter. It read, quote, "Erase the invisible line that is dividing our nation. Come up with a..."
He read the quote. The funny thing is he read the quote because he's looking straight up at the freaking screen that's, whatever. He's reading this off. And he sees the quote, so he's, quote. What an idiot.
Handwritten letter. It read, quote, "Erase the invisible line that is dividing our nation. Come up with a solution and fix what's broken and make the changes that are necessary to prevent this from happening again." End of quote.
So vague. What is that?
My fellow Americans,
That's
enough.
the vaguest message I've ever heard.
Enough. It's time for each of us to do our part.
She took her time to write it. She took her time to actually write that.
A kid wrote that. I don't believe it. I don't believe you.
Come up with a solution and fix what's broken.
We're going to listen
And
to it
make the
again.
changes that are necessary to prevent this from happening again. End of quote.
What?
I don't know.
Pass
It
me a
sounds
handwritten
little
letter.
BS.
It read, quote, "Erase the invisible line that is dividing our nation."
Erase the invisible line that's dividing our nation.
I can't with this people.
How old was this person?
I don't know.
Come up with a solution and fix what's broken.
Come up with a solution and fix what's broken. Well, like the government, we should replace it because it's broken. It's no longer working for us.
And make the changes that are necessary to prevent this from happening again. End of quote. My fellow Americans, enough. Enough. It's time
Let
for
me
each of us to
sleep.
do our part.
I just want to snort
It's time
coke,
to act.
Oh,
I just
he's
want to
whispering.
snort
children
coke with
we've
my
lost.
son.
He was whispering again.
My fellow Americans, enough.
Enough.
Enough. It's time for each of us to do our part. It's time to act. For the children we've lost, for the children we can save, for the nation we love. Let's hear the call and the cry. Let's meet the moment. Let us finally do something.
Get off the drugs, old man. Do something.
Anything.
God bless the families who are
Please
hurting.
help me out of this position.
God bless you all. From hymn based on the 91st Psalm sung in my church. May he raise you up on eagle's wings.
He can't do a single speech without plagiarizing somebody. Now he's going to use the Bible. What an ass. I'm going to say like 9-year-old, old enough to string words together, young enough for Joe to be interested, dumb enough to say what it said. God, this is painful.
Bury you on the breath of dawn. Make you to shine like the sun and hold you in the palm of his hand. That's my prayer for all of you. God bless you.
Go fuck yourself. I mean, that was the speech. That was the speech that he come out for. It was a special statement that he had made tonight. And you can see it's all this nice, fancy setup for 17 minutes of nonsense.
So, did he get some work done on his jawline?
He's had a lot of work done.
Yeah.
A lot. There's no way this almost 80-year-old man doesn't have saggy skin everywhere. So they tightened everything up on his face to make him look like he, like he is. And that's exactly what it is. He's had facial surgeries over and over and over again. Oh, yeah, I'm sure they put a little bit of makeup on him. Cover up the scars.
I can see that too.
She's happy she has a ranch. All right. Like I said, that was the 17-minute speech that this fool had to make. So then... Okay, so that was in there. This one. So this is an article from the Daily Mail that actually goes along with the speech. So this is Biden insists he does not want guns or vilify owners as he calls assault weapon ban and more background checks, which he actually did say. He tears into the unconscionable Republicans and tells Americans to vote if Congress fails to do something. If Congress fails to do something, it's their fault. I mean, they're supposed to be working for us, the people, and when we actually go and we tell our representatives that this is how we feel and we don't want bans on weapons, why don't you listen to what we have to say? Oh, it's because that's what you have to say, not what we have to say. No, again, you don't. We don't live here because you're here. You're here because we put you there. You old fuck. Thanks for playing it. Glad I didn't have to have those thoughts alone. I know, right? So down below here, so then this kind of goes through his speech that he had just given. You can see they show a backed up, so you can see that this room is set up the way it is on purpose so that he can walk through it and look funky.
Look all somber.
He called us all unconscious. Yeah, exact. So I noticed this lady had something to say.
Ugh.
We're not. It's just a minute and 26 seconds.
Ick.
Whatever. It's,
That's a minute and 26 seconds too long. Come on, man.
Before I begin my comments, I do want to, however, speak for a moment about what happened yesterday
begin?
in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The president will be talking more about this later. But we have been monitoring the situation quite closely. And the latest report, of course, is that 4 innocent people lost their lives. And many more were injured. We, of course, all of us hold the people of Tulsa in our hearts. We also reaffirm...
I'm never going to give you up. I'm never going to let
you down. Never gonna run around.
Desert you.
Our commitment to passing common sense gun safety laws. And I don't have to tell anybody in this room, but President Biden has taken more executive action to combat violence than any other president at this point in their administration. But we cannot, as an administration or those of us who are here, address this alone. No more excuses. Thoughts and prayers are important, but not enough. We need Congress to act. And so with that, I will turn to the topic at hand, but I know that we all feel similarly about the importance of leaders leading on it.
What did she say? She's just horrible. Just this whole administration needs to just evaporate into there.
There is no way these people were likable enough to win the world's biggest likability contest.
So then I started my job today. I'm a shoe salesman again.
Oh,
Yeah.
good stuff.
It's not full. It's just part time, but at the same time, being my first day back, doing something, on my feet. I was so wore out after the 5 hours. I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to get back into the swing of things or whatever, and actually do something, as opposed to just sitting around and just reading the news and being like, well, I guess we're fucked. There is as you can see, the name of the episode is Midterms must be around the corner.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, because of everything that's happening. I mean, you can just almost always tell when midterms are coming, because just things start flaring up, such as gun violence, or it gets reported on a little bit more, and then it'll be 1 or 2 incidences like Uvalde that seemed to be something strange with them.
Right, and then all of a sudden everybody's a Democrat again.
Oh wait, what was that thing? There was something. Oh, here it is. I gotta go back.
We have to go back. It's a kid's party.
I gotta go back to the article that I was on last, because of where it showed a graphic. It was this one here, this United States map. It says weekend of violence across the U.S. And then it shows, like Pennsylvania 7, Michigan 6, Illinois 8, Missouri 5. Okay, so Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Detroit, Chicago, St. Louis, Atlanta, New Orleans, Dallas. Oh, look at San Francisco. I mean, it says there's multiples, and I know that they're not all in those particular cities that I pointed out. But all of them are super strong Democrat strongholds in those major cities. And all these incidents just so happen to happen within certain distances of these major cities.
Like it was set up.
3 Jade Helm, 15 states, throwback conspiracy theory. So this is a map showing the states that saw the highest number of gun violence deaths over the weekend, that saw more than 150 people killed in total across the United States. So now remember where the Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Missouri, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, Arizona, and California. Those states are the ones that they're talking about, right? What about this one? Why isn't this one being talked about? This one right here.
I see nothing.
It's coming. This one right here.
Oh!
2 people shot when gunfire erupts during a funeral in a Racine, Wisconsin cemetery.
How about that hospital shooting that just happened?
Oh, there's a couple of things that I have pulled up here. It was that one. It was the dozen shots fired in Center City. The church in Iowa. Those are the ones that I had pulled up. Yep. And then I had something else that was kind of irrelevant to the situation, but still kind of, to the point or whatever. So then I believe I covered that particular shooting that you had said or whatever last night, if I'm not mistaken. Because it was the one, the Tulsa one? The hospital?
I don't remember.
The second floor hospital where dude goes in and shoots up the hospital or whatever, and with military style weapons, ARs,
I don't know. The dude had a rifle and dude had a pistol, and I think maybe another rifle, and then I think dude was black, and homie went up.
See, that goes against the narrative, so you really can't push that one.
Well, I mean,
that's why
it was in the report.
It was the Tulsa, Oklahoma one that I actually, we actually hit on that one yesterday. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's just like this dude, because he was black, and it's like you noticed that the president didn't bring that up. It had nothing to do with that. You bring that map back up or whatever. Was Oklahoma part of that?
Well, I mean, it helps narrow it down if you want to find dude, but he shot himself, so.
No, right. So let's kind of cover this article here real quick. So this is, like it says, this is 2 people shot.
We have breaking news that we are following this afternoon just over the Illinois border in Racine, Wisconsin. Gunfire during a funeral at Graceland Cemetery.
Police telling us there are victims. CBS 2's Chris Habermel is in Chopper 2.
A section of Graceland Cemetery just west of downtown Racine, as you can see here, is taped off as evidence technicians are walking among the graves. They're identifying and retrieving perishable evidence, shell casings and whatnot, where multiple people were shot here during a graveside service right before 2:30 this afternoon. It took place a funeral, and the tent, you can see, is still up over the graveside there, and the casket is actually still above ground where mourners were forced to scatter when the gunshots broke out. They attended to the here before medics arrived. We're working on the number of victims exactly and their condition. No word of any offender or offenders being taken into custody. Over Racine, Chris Habermel.
Chris Habermel is definitely one of those guys.
So then it pretty much what he had just said or whatever was the top couple. So this shooting happened during the funeral of Deshante King, a 37-year-old man who was shot and killed by Racine police May 20th.
So, was this like a gang shooting, or what the hell happened here?
I don't know, because it says that the dude was originally killed by police. So if the original dude was killed by the police that they were burying, what caused this to happen?
I don't hear about.
Were they going after cops that actually killed him, or were they going after gang members? What's the issue?
Yeah, I don't know. Why would people be shooting at a funeral? Unless everybody that they're after is together. Like that could be a good reason, I guess.
Right. So I mean, obviously, more information will, eventually come out of this, where people actually say, "Oh, he did this because of he was going after this particular person." The cousin of Deshante King, or I'm just kind of coming up with something off the top of my head, and that trying to spin something, why didn't it get bring up? Because you can assume that Deshante King was most likely a young black man. So against the narratives, has nothing to do with it. 3 young men who were playing basketball in Lockwood Park immediately west of the cemetery said they heard shots and the fence behind them was repeatedly hit. Trey Brantley, one of the men, started running to his car the moment he heard shots. He and his brother both got into the car, ducked down, praying they wouldn't get hit. This has got to stop. A man across the street told CBS 58 he thought it sounded like a 21-gun salute. So this is a video shows investigators walking shoulder to shoulder through the cemetery. Typically, that means they're looking for shell casings. Well, yeah, absolutely.
Would you
They're gonna go
excuse
through
me
there.
for a little bit? I'd love to come right back. I just need a little bit break.
No, yeah, do what you need to do, brother.
Okay, cool. I'll be right back. I'm not gonna mute. I'm just gonna sign off real quick. Are you gonna be on for much longer? Like, what's the plan?
I'm not positive on how much longer, but yeah, just come back in.
Okay. I'll be back.
All right, sounds good. That being said, it's all hope that everything is going well with AmericaShirts. It's 2 nights in a row. I miss my little buddy. So it says Racine officials provided a statement. Is today's heinous shooting in the cemetery while families ready mourning the loss of loved one is new low for these perpetrators of violence in the community. The violence has got to stop. Revenge is not the answer. Ending gun violence is the top priority of the police department and my administration. I've spoken to the governor and attorney general to request more resources to support violence prevention. I'm instructing the police department to actively enforce their juvenile curfew ordinance through the weekend. Anyone under 18 must be home by 11 o'clock. This violence must end. If you have any information about the horrific events of the today, that's funny, I urge you to contact the Racine Police Department immediately. So, I mean, to me, it kind of sounds like it's a little bit of gun violence, but all of a sudden, oh, look, there's more gun violence in places like Racine, Wisconsin. Like little random towns that are close to big cities like, Racine, Wisconsin's a really, really kind of seriously close to like between Milwaukee and Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's right on the border. And I believe if anybody remembers the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff or whatever, they'd remember that he actually drove through the area. Or his mom did. So then there's this one. So this is Fox 29 Philadelphia. Again, dated today at 3:03 for an update.
To Philadelphia police right now investigating a shooting in Center City.
SEPTA have rushed that victim to the hospital. Let's get out to Steve.
Yeah, we have two incidents to tell you about, and they're prominent. Look, first of all, just across the street from our Center City Bureau, right across the street from the two Comcast towers. Doesn't get more prominent in Center City than this. And again, in prime time. And look at the corner bakery, now corner Shut Up Bakery. 5 bullet holes that I count here where a man was shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a bloody scene here where police went first at 11 o'clock last night.
Upon arrival, police discovered a 19-year-old male who had been shot 3 times, laying on the sidewalk. He was immediately scooped by a SEPTA transit police officer and taken to Jefferson Hospital, where he's currently listed in stable condition, having suffered 3 gunshot wounds. He was shot once in each arm and once in the upper right thigh. Additionally, in the backdrop is a business on the corner of 17th and JFK. That business was struck at least 3 or 4 times by gunfire, shattering the window panes.
Oh, I don't want this next one to play. Stop it.
Well, it might as well be our 5th.
So, just more violence. More and more violence every single day. More and more shootings. And, these ones, you notice these couple that I actually just listed here, they have nothing to do with what the president was talking about. Because it's not part of his narrative. He's more concerned about people using ARs, just any normal, everyday AR. And he doesn't care about, all this stuff. He only cares about it when it actually goes against his narrative. Or helps his narrative, whatever, however you want to. So then here's this one. Okay, so this one says a man shot and killed 2 women, then himself outside an Ames Cornerstone church. Police say the adult man shot and killed 2 female victims, then took his own life in a parking lot outside the Ames Cornerstone Church Thursday night. The suspected shooter appeared to have died from self-inflicted gunshot wound. Although the part of the investigation is ongoing, the ages of the 2 women are not immediately known. Lenny said several 911 calls came in at 6:51 p.m. as a program was going on in the church. The church hosts a regular Thursday evening event for its youth ministry, the Salt Company. Officials said that the shooting happened in the parking lot of the church and others were inside. Hours later, there were still people inside the church as well as in the parking lot. Law enforcement officials on Thursday did not release details on the weapon used in the shooting. It must not have been an AR, otherwise it would have been released. I wouldn't say I'm shocked as law enforcement. We prepared and we train hard for this. But when it happens, it's obviously chaotic until it gets under control. I would also like to take a moment to just extend our condolences to those involved, the victims involved, the families, the witnesses that were here at the church, and our hearts are with them, and as well as this time. Governor Reynolds says the shooting was an act of senseless violence. Tonight's act of senseless violence took the lives of 2 innocent victims at their place of worship. Kevin and I grieve for the families who have suffered an unfathomable loss. the governor said on Twitter. And while the investigation continues, we learn more. We ask the Iowans pray for the victims and their families and members of the Cornerstone Church and the entire Ames community. There's the tweet that came from her. Ames, miles north of Des Moines, is the center of a metro area at 126,195 and is the home of the Iowa State University, nation's first land-grant institution of the higher learning. It's also home to the major research facilities of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, as well as numerous ag-related industries, including Renewable Energy Group, a biodiesel company Chevron recently acquired for $3.15 billion. Now, why does any of this have to do with it? Why was this added to this article at all? Why did anybody need to know that Chevron had acquired it for $3.15 billion? Cornerstone Church is a mega church with dozens of staff. Is located at the intersection of highways 30 and Interstate 35 in Ames. The church sits just south of Lake Wesley. The church is also framed by Crossroad Baptist Church in the Iowa Department of Transportation Maintenance Garage. Beyond that are sprawling fields. Yeah, good question, right? Why did any of that what's any of this have to do with this current situation? Why is all this being released? But they have no clue. They can't give us names. They can't give us what kind of weapons were used, because they're like, oh, what's this? Make a paragraph and let this stick in there real quick, and then, because then people will read it and they'll forget what they're actually reading it for. The church, according to the website, was founded in 1994 from a college ministry at ISU called the Salt Company, which is still the name of the church's university ministry. The Cornerstone website says it is now a multi-generational church with a passion to reach the next generation of college students with the gospel. The Salt Company's website, apparently they have their own website, says that about 1,300 students gather for worship at Cornerstone every Thursday night during the school year. Exactly, yeah, if they even read it. And there's reasons why I'm like, I should actually go and create a YouTube channel where I read news articles, because, somebody needs to read it. And if somebody doesn't have the time to read it, hopefully they subscribe to me and they actually can hear what was actually written in the article. The shooting in Ames follows several high-profile mass shootings. 10 people were killed in Buffalo. Grocery store on May 14th. I didn't cover that one. I should probably cover that one. 21 people, including 19 students, were killed in Uvalde on May 24th, and 4 people were killed in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We covered those ones in the last few days. I just didn't cover this Buffalo, New York one. That might be something to actually look at for future, maybe, potentially. Earlier on Thursday, Joe Biden called on Congress to pass sweeping gun control legislation. So apparently, whoever wrote this article is totally for the sweeping gun control legislation. So then, basically what I did is I went Google search, and I, recent shootings in the United States to see what I could come up with for stuff that wasn't pointed out in Joe Biden's speech. And it seems as though the ones that they don't point out, the ones that they don't care to share, are the ones that kind of seem to be, like the last article was at the church. So they're kind of like, oh, let's point out these other ones. It's the article before. They didn't point out all the, though we didn't read it all, they didn't really point out any of the previous stuff that had occurred, because it wasn't something that, was part of their, again, narrative. This is disturbing. Because, again, we're heading into midterms, and it seems as though there's an awful lot of people that are having their lives ripped up and changed and whatever else. So here, this body cam photo shows moment Kansas City woman, 26, aimed her gun at police before she was shot 5 times, then handcuffed while bleeding through her white shirt. There's some narrative for you. Exactly. This particular one, this is going to ignite other things. Other things such as potential BLM. Just guessing. I could be wrong. Welcome back, Jimmy.
I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man.
I've figured out one of these days I'll get entrances for everybody.
Let's go.
I'll get there. So this is the last article that I actually had pulled up. So it's just body cam photo shows moments. Kansas City woman aimed her gun at police. She was shot 5 times and then handcuffed while bleeding through her white shirt. Because right, and like I said, midterms must be around the corner. Because I was saying, oh, there you go. This one should help ignite certain things, such as maybe Black Lives Matter. We don't know this. We don't know for sure. But, oh, look, there she is. Pointing her gun.
That Bigfoot strut. Look at that Bigfoot stride. Oh my gosh. It's like the perfect. It's like put her.
There she is.
Yeah, go back. No. Look at that Bigfoot stride. It's so perfect. I can't believe it. Grim, you little ramble, I need you. Divinity's dying.
There she is. She's just rolling. She's like, oh man. But this is what's going to help push narratives, coming into midterms. People are going to be like, oh, look what they did to her. So it says a Kansas woman who was shot and wounded in Kansas City, Missouri. Police last week has been charged with several counts after police released images of the body cam that show her to be armed. So she's not dead.
They shot
Never
Bigfoot.
mind. They just shot her 5 times.
It's not my fault. Bigfoot had a gun. Oh my gosh. Is reality real? Is she really striking that pose? Come on, go back down a little bit.
I think she's running is basically what's going on. So she's...
Actually, yeah, she's in motion, but that makes it so much worse.
I mean, I just didn't even know what to even. Because when you actually look at it, you're like, oh, okay.
I like her with the hair to the side like that. She looks nice in blue, I must say.
Yeah. This here, that must have been after she was cuffed and tackled. That looks kind of sort of like a.
Nobody looks good in their mugshot, darling.
That must be the mugshot. So. Oh look, see. Oh, it's a woman that's cuffing her. Good job, guys. Stand back. Don't come near.
Donuts and coffee after this. Job well done. They're like, they can't be angry about this one. She had a gun.
We only shot her 5 times. She's only bleeding out a little bit. She's safe. She's okay. Cuff her.
Oh my gosh. She's pretty. How old is she?
What did it say? Leona Hale, 26. She's not too old either, man.
She's legal. I'm gonna send her letters.
You're gonna send her letters.
She's gonna be my prison mama.
This is Kansas City, Missouri. So, you find out which Jackson County prosecutors, they kind of, zero it down for you. So, Jackson County, Kansas City, Missouri.
I'm gonna have a date with Bigfoot.
Maybe your attitude towards things. Maybe she won't be so violent.
I don't gotta change her. She's a free human person.
So this paragraph's kind of it starts off weird. So it says some false narratives about what happened last Friday night on the 6th and Prospect Avenue. Unfortunately, were relied upon by some media and other sources. Baker said, "Our job as prosecutors is to remain neutral and review all evidence. Our review of body cam videos provided the actual accounting of events that night." The 2 officers stated that she was armed with what they believed to be a handgun. That's what it looked like to me. And
yep.
Bigfoot shot. Yeah.
Stop it. Grim, I need you. Clip that shit, please.
Still, photos taken from the body cam footage of this encounter also demonstrate a weapon was present and in the hands of the defendant. Although the full footage of the officer body camera has not yet been released, Baker released a still image from one of the body cameras worn by the officers to back up the claims. The Bigfoot shot. It appears to depict a black woman holding a gun in her right hand, although it's not completely clear whether she is pointing it at police. You're flailing a gun around while you're running. You're pointing it at, it doesn't matter who. You're done. Stop it.
See how she's turning to engage. Her whole body is not in the opposite direction, trying to get away from these fools. Like, her legs are going where they should be, but her body is like, fight me, bitch.
Right. She's twisted. Right. But anything to push narratives, anything to actually help things out, because they're gonna try pushing this that she wasn't violent, she didn't have history of violence or something. She was rushed to the hospital after suffering serious injuries, but was in stable condition.
Oh, good.
And she was also what?
My poor prison mom.
Taken to medics an unrelated medical issue. There's a man in this incident?
Ah, shit. I don't want none.
Missouri State Highway Patrol Sergeant Andy Bell expressed doubts to KCUR radio over claims Hill might be pregnant. Body trauma, maybe not anymore. I don't know. Just saying. Maybe she is. I mean, stepchildren, it's okay.
I mean, Roe v. Wade was a peer. Maybe this is how they go about it. Never mind. Lovely day for a drive, though, instead of getting involved with police, just going for a drive. Oh, Divinity. Divinity. No, that is an incorrect name. You are definitely not divine in any way, shape, or form. That was terrible. You deserve no halo. You are sprouting horns as I speak.
You do get to keep your wrench, though.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you can keep the wrench by all means. I mean, that was par for the course, but naughty. See yourself out. No.
Warning. Contains images that some viewers may find upsetting.
Bad boys!
They got her handcuffed while they shot her, y'all. Why they shot her?
Why they shot her, though?
Why they shot her, y'all?
Why they shot her, though?
Why they shot her, though?
Why they shot her? Why they shot her, y'all? They got her handcuffed. I've never seen. I'm from Louisiana. I'm from Arkansas, but I stopped here to get some gas, y'all, and to get some ice cream for my kids, y'all. And my son just watched this. My 1-year-old son just watched this. My 10-year-old son just watched this, and my 13-year-old son just watched this happen.
Why didn't you take your whatever 1, 10, and 13-year-old children and freaking get the hell out of there?
Yeah, why did you
are you
stick
still
around
there?
the situation?
Why'd you have, what the hell?
What
the man
business
ran.
is it
She was finna watch this, and my 13-year-old son just watched this happen. The man ran. She was finna cooperate. She got scared. She ran down there. They shot her. 1, 2, 3, 4. My son got it on his phone too.
Oh my gosh.
They got her in handcuffs while she shot God. I'm a medical assistant, God. It ain't right. I'm a medical assistant, God. It ain't right.
See, when the mom is like this, and if there is no dad, you kind of wonder why the son goes a little bonkers.
Finna cooperate.
Why they shot her though? She had a gun. Look at the police report if you're curious, but like, just would you quit? Would you quit with all of this, please? Like, the body cam's gonna come out. There's gonna be a whole report. Somebody was shot.
She got scared. She ran down there. They shot her. 1, 2, 3, 4. My son got it on his phone too. They got her in handcuffs while she shot God. I'm a medical assistant, God. It ain't right. I'm a medical assistant, God. It ain't right. My son in the store.
Back up.
My son in the store. My son in the store.
My son in the store. My son in the store. Oh, why did it go to some weirdness? Okay. Didn't do no. First off, I snap easily and go fast. What the hell? This is according to her Facebook account. She's the mother of a young daughter, and her bio reads, Liana, don't take no shit from anyone. First off, and also, I snap easily and fast. That's what you put on your Facebook?
Do you, boo-boo? Do you?
Oh, you want to hear it all over again? Is that what's going on?
Still love.
They got her in handcuffs while they shot her, y'all.
Why they shot her, though?
They got her in handcuffs while they shot her, y'all.
She didn't do nothing. Why they shot her, though?
Why they shot her, y'all? They got her in handcuffs.
Ebonics.
I've never seen. I'm from Louisiana. I'm from Arkansas, but I stopped here to get some gas, y'all, and to get some ice cream for my kids, y'all. And my son just watched this. My 1-year-old son just.
Why do we need to know that she was getting ice cream?
I guess she's just trying to say she was going about her own day, which I suppose she probably.
They got her in handcuffs while they shot her, y'all.
Why they shot her?
They got her in handcuffs while they shot her, y'all. Why they shot her? Why they shot her, y'all? They got her in handcuffs. I've never seen. I'm from Louisiana. I'm from Arkansas, but I stopped here to get some gas, y'all, and to get some ice cream for my kids, y'all. And my son just watched this. My 1-year-old son just watched this. My 10-year-old son just watched this, and my 13-year-old son just watched this happen. The man ran. She was finna cooperate. She got scared. She ran down there. They shot her. 1, 2, 3, 4. My son got it on his phone too. They got her in handcuffs while she shot God. I'm a medical assistant.
Why she shot God? I'm a medical assistant. What? Did you read the book to become a medical assistant?
Hey, I won't assume anything in that area. Maybe she did. Maybe she's wicked smart in medical shit.
But she didn't sound like she was too intelligent. I'm just saying.
No.
I'm here for ice cream, not drugs. Yeah, exactly, definitive.
She was just trying to... Hey, come on. No, I mean, only the worst of the worst bring their kids to a meetup. I tell you what.
Sister God, that ain't right. I'm a medical assistant, God, that ain't right.
Medical assistant, y'all, that ain't right.
My son in the store. My son in the store. My son in the store. My son.
I still love
my son in the stove. My son in the stove. Yeah, medical assistant lets her kids watch the cops draw on people and has them film. Yeah, exactly. It's what in the world? You gotta be kidding me. It's let's share the screen, huh? There you go. So, you know, like I said, tonight was my first day at a job, and I kind of come home and I was trying to put the kid to sleep for about an hour, and then I'm like, oh, I should do a show. And this all, like, seriously, I got all this set up within like a half hour. Before, you know, just before I started the show, and I like seriously had like no time to do a lot. I'd like to do a couple more, whatever, which would take me through the next half hour-ish or whatever, and actually give me a 2-hour episode like I'd like to try getting it on. But I just don't seem to have the footage to do that. So being that I don't have the footage to do that, we should have a little bit of quick fun.
What did you have in mind?
Oh, I don't know. There's some we got some friends out here that like to produce content.
Yeah, we do.
It's hilarious. Let's see if they've created anything new in the last day.
Ooh.
Looks like Grim hasn't done anything in 2 days. Amazing. He's got a couple good ones in there. There was, let's see, let's try this one.
Well, I've got a couple of those time lapses that I made.
Sure. Throw some stuff up there.
Yeah, we'll do.
Well, you know, I hate Kamala just as much as I hate Joe Biden, but when it comes down to it is sometimes we have to watch some stuff that we dislike so that we can understand why we dislike them so much. Like I used to do to Jimmy YouTube on a regular basis. I'd go pull up a Jen Psaki thing for him just because I knew he'd be like, Stop showing me Chucky.
I mean, but that only makes people want to show her Chucky more. Like, okay, I have it here on my screen. Let me. Okay, I have it muted.
Okay, next time that we have something from Camo, I'll transcribe it for you, and I'll read it as opposed to actually letting her read it, and we'll just show her face. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So this is Jimmy YouTube. Jimmy YouTube actually does have his own channels. This is off of his TikTok. He did actually do the YouTube and recorded this, and it's pretty cool. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check him out.
Yeah, so
there's links down in the description.
This is how fast I actually draw.
Oh, you got it in time lapse. Nice.
I had music behind it, but copyright. Unless you want to fight Nintendo.
That's cool. I like it.
Thank you very much. So, Graham didn't have none?
No, it says that he hadn't had anything up in the last 2.
God has favorites for sure.
Yeah, Jimmy's talented.
Yeah, I'd really appreciate that. Divinity, I like to do streams in the morning, so if you're up that early, come check me out.
Check the description. There should be a couple links for him down below. One for his YouTube and one for his TikTok page.
It usually goes a lot smoother if I have people to talk to anyhow. Otherwise, I'm just kind of sitting there, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly, and that's what I do on these shows when I don't have guests or whatever. I have a tendency just to sit there and be like, well, because it's easier to hold a conversation with somebody as opposed to just sounding stupid.
Right? Well, imagine no topic, right? No topic. You just get in there and you're like doing a thing.
Yeah, that would be really difficult if I would like go into like a Friday night and be like, Friday night open mic, and absolutely nobody shows up.
Friday night, Frogman doodling. I'd watch it. I'd watch it, Frogman.
Right. I would hope that you wouldn't. I would hope that you'd actually click the link and try helping me. Look at that. Good stuff, man.
Salty.
Good stuff.
Free. Yeah, I got a TikTok.
So everybody that's watching, paying attention, watching later, however, whenever, anybody that realizes that Divinity is now a mod for this channel, she does have her own channel as well. She actually does some YouTubing, and they're great. They're fun.
Divinity? What? Div Inity. DIV.
This is the woman whose computer I was able to see.
Filters.
And I tweeted about it. By the way, some asshole, you know who you are, wrote that how could I have tweeted a photo of the computer to the public?
Don't go to mine. I'm going to yours.
We're there. We're already there.
I'm looking for yours.
Hard pressed to be able to show up in that courtroom again, show their face.
It's worse than PvP. What are you talking about? What? How do I get to it?
By association with me. So 2 things about that. Number 1, there is no photo. I never took a photo.
What if I?
And number 2, it was from memory, and I wrote it down.
It should be
you
that one.
Realize that you can convey information,
Just
things you see with your eyes, and then write them down and then tweet about them. I was in capacity of a reporter, I don't have a fiduciary duty.
Fiduciary. He said douche. Come on, let me frickin'. It won't let me go to open link in new tab. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Like,
you each get a new sub tonight. That's always fun.
Oh wait, I'm already subbed. Look how on top of shit I am. Oh, and I've watched a few of your videos all the way through. I watch. Wow, you have a lot of content. Holy buckets.
She really does. She's growing super fast too.
Yeah.
Sitting at 883. Was it what? That was 2 weeks ago. She was at 180.
It's no wonder. Look at all the content you got. Like for real. Okay. Yeah, I saw this All Hail Pope thing. I saw the Viva Frey Barnes weigh-in on LawTube drama. Oh yeah. The Runkle of the Bailey thing. Oh yeah, you've been on top of that DUI guy thing. It's good on you. You subbed to me. Hey, I appreciate that. I am pouring that out 1 day a week. Damn. I mean, yeah, milk that cow, yo.
It was 1 week today. Okay, that's what I thought. It was just amazing.
How to not cope with meme copium. Is this meme copium thing a meme compilation?
That's what I was just gonna play. What's this one? Meme copium.
Yeah, I'm curious. It's like this is the most embarrassing one.
Hashtag we just don't like you, Alate. I don't have a problem with her. I think she made a big mistake, and I think she feels bad for it.
Listening to this,
I think her reaction was pretty silly.
Sub to Divinity.
But given the circumstances, she probably was just trying to stop the damage, but inadvertently caused more damage because the drama, the news was already going out. But then as she made that video, it just put more fuel to the fire. Should have just said thing, worked it out behind the scenes, and it'd been better. Was one thing that people have been saying to me in the comments was that she didn't actually apologize. Yeah, she was advised to saying, and that's the good advice when you have that sort of situation.
God, when Joe brought it up, that was so awkward.
When Joe brought up.
When Runkle and it was just Joe, Runkle, and her, I think. Was it this one? Yeah, and Joe's like, so what's going on with DUI guy? I hate that you're here right now.
Well, we're not going to be here much longer. We were just trying to get closer to the 2-hour mark that I'd like to be at. We're getting there. We're about 12 minutes away, which could be all right for what it is. We don't need to really go any further.
Runkle is odd, our Canadian Legolas.
Mm-hmm. So then, let's see here. Before I lose the thought, I'm going to actually do something here real quick. So then, anybody that's actually been following me for periods of time, like when you first sub, I offer Discord links. Jimmy YouTube knows what I'm talking about when I say I put links down below in descriptions for people that have been with me for a while. So that people can actually find easier way of actually finding the people that are sitting in my chat.
I'm checking if Expert's live right now.
No, he's done.
Oh, he is.
I was still modding for him when I was starting my show. Because that's what I do. So then I'm going to go and I'm going to update the description here real quick because I do have my mods tied to the description. So then anybody that's actually watching this later on, I do get a couple people that do at least click on it. I really don't know how much they actually watch. I put their channels down in the description.
Oh yeah, expert is great.
So I do have the expert in the description. I got people like IDCrisis in the description. And now
I'll give you a thumb up, buddy.
There's a Divinity in the description. Anybody that actually wants to actually sub to Divinity, they go down below. They can actually click her channel down in there, and they can follow her, sub to her. She's got a great channel. There's a couple things there, and just get her to her 1,000, monetize her. That'd be awesome.
Hey, she doesn't need any help, man. Look at that. Come on.
I know she doesn't need help, but
No.
If I can actually, if I can do anything to actually help her, which actually in turn helps me, I'm gonna do it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely, Divinity. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us in the last few days, whatever, and actually, being in chat. I really enjoy actually having somebody there, especially on nights where I'm stuck by myself. It gives me somebody to talk to.
Yeah, it's cool to have the interaction there.
Right. It really does help to actually have somebody to interact with. I can't see how somebody like Nick Ricada can actually go for 12 hours, whatever, without even, he doesn't need people in this, to join him or whatever at all. He's just continuously nonstop going. And it's like, how does he do that? How does he do it? 7 hours during the day and then another 4 at night, all by himself with no help, nobody to talk to. Maybe it's because he's got this huge chat that he can just kind of, jump off of if he really needs to.
Oh yeah, I mean he has super chats all the time.
Of course, I need to get back into real news after that. You say something about you're doing that you're interested in if people are going to stick around once you start going back to the stuff that you're originally doing. You're doing some religious Jesus stuff or something or other, which I said, I won't leave because I'll still watch just because I'm interested in almost anything. Go back and do whatever you were doing. It's fine. You'd be surprised how many people actually still stick around because they're like, oh, she's just fun to watch. You just never know what she's going to do next. That has to be the chat. He's super smart and witty.
Oh yeah, I agree. He's a fun guy. I really like his content, and him being from Minnesota is all the better. I've been through his town so many times.
Oh sure, yeah. I didn't actually travel through the area myself, but yeah, I mean, being from Minnesota, it is quite interesting to watch somebody from your home state or whatever, and you hear what they actually have to say, and you're like, wow, this guy's cool. I like Nick Ricada, but it's because he's kind of different than the rest of what we considered LawTube, and Good Logic. Good Logic's the best. I've missed so many of his shows lately though, because I've refused to pay attention to the depth stuff. Because it's like, it's just done. It's too overdone.
I think I had Nick Ricada on my feed like a couple times here and there, and then the Vic Mignogna stuff came up, and then it was like just full on go. I was into it, and I never stopped.
Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's call it a night. We're close enough to the 2 hours. We're about 5 minutes out. By the time we get these little clips played here at the end, we'll be good enough.
I suppose.
Thank you for watching. Anybody that is watching, thank you, Divinity. Anybody that's paying attention, make sure you go sub to her, sub to Jimmy YouTube. check out AmericaShirts.com. He's probably still working on the website, so you might have to still bookmark it.
The most base shirts on the interwebs.
If you really, right, exactly. And if you really seriously want to know what's actually going on with like Ukraine stuff, you check out his Rumble channel. He's got quite the following over there, and he's got so much information. All those, all that stuff down in the description. Follow everybody and make everybody happy. Oops, this one. Chat. There, we'll leave that on the screen while we graphic our way out. Later, everybody.
Hi, bitches.
Back to them, or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Fuck Joe Biden.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.